Today we're going to be talking about the rear suspension on my 2019 GMC 2500 base model gas truck. I bought this thing at a Ritchie Brother auction for like pennies. I think it was a little under $15,000 maybe. I had plans to do a really cool build and really do it kind of slow and over time. That didn't happen, mainly because the F-150 that I had my camper on kind of gave out and just things needed to change. So I escalated that timeline. Because of that, I made some compromises on some of the stuff I bought because I didn't have time and I couldn't, some shipping stuff didn't work. So where we're at now is a really bulletproof truck.
Kit kind of laid out right here, and when you order it, you're going to have to order the install kit, which is the small U-bolts, whatever these are, these brackets and hardware, this and these plates, and these guys right here. And then that's a separate package or a separate item number from the actual springs. So we got the 4-spring kit going on here. They have a 3-spring and a 4-spring kit, and I just figured more is better. Maybe I'm wrong. These instructions one more time, and then just get started. So just so that
base model,
we kind of all agree on this. So this is the
bought it from a Ritchie Brothers auction.
These are the bolts, the 2 bolts that they say you put
I was in a pinch,
like right here on step 2.
Had to kind of
stack the 3/8
do the
bolt
build with whatever I could get my hands on.
So these are the 3/8 bolt
and no timeline.
If you put it in,
extra time, right?
They say you need to put a lock washer and a nut. You don't even get enough
the first
room.
thing, I knew that I wanted a flat bed.
Like
Why?
the threads don't even come through. If you really step on it,
want to be able to store all of the things that I need.
Like if you flip this around, they are heavy.
Now, everyone's gonna say, "Oh my God!"
So
flatbeds
if you get that bolt under all of them,
yes, they do.
and you stack them right, and you put all of your weight on it with their included fastener, you can just barely get a nut on it.
Lower, and so your net center of gravity still goes down.
When I did it,
in my
the threads ripped off. I got 3 threads on there, but it ripped off, and that's the only. There are no other bolts in either of the bags that they send with it.
Center of gravity.
You put in your
the moment, the point at which things roll, right? So, so that's what I did. Now, when I first just threw on, I had just the flatbed and the side boxes and the camper and some other stuff. I scaled out, and as you can see, it was not great. I was significantly over the GVWR, and more importantly, so I was significantly over the GVWR, right? You can see here, we're talking about, 11,300 pounds on a truck rated for 9,500. Now, the payload police can come after me and say that I am an idiot and I am endangering the lives of everybody in the world. I disagree. However, at that point, it was pretty clear that the vehicle was not what I wanted. So I went about, I prefer improving the leaf springs instead of airbags. However, in this case, I went through, I tried to do Hellwig add a leaf kit. That didn't work. As you'll see, just the hardware and the fitment and everything didn't work. Hellwig was really good. They took it back. Kevin at Hellwig was super knowledgeable, really good to work with. And in addition to that, I bought the Hellwig Big Wig rear sway bar. that install was also a challenge. Everything fit together really well, except that 2 of the nuts that were supplied had super coarse threads, like a 0.7 if you were going to measure the thread pitch, as opposed to like a the fine thread that was on the U-bolt, which I don't know, just eyeballing it, is probably like a 2.5, right? So that caused a problem because I didn't look at that. I didn't check that. And yeah, so stripped the threads and then had to cut them off and rethread it to get the sway bar on. Now it's on, it works. And I gotta say, the thing drives, like, it feels safe. I'm not concerned about driving it. I think the suspension is at a really good place now. I have the Air Right 7500 airbags. I have the rear sway bar, and then I have I replaced the rear shocks because after the previous owner had definitely never replaced those, so they were beat up. They were very beat up. So yeah, so now it's in a really good spot. Yeah, everything's really good with it. So yeah, I'll show the install process. The problem is now, so I don't know if you can see, so this it hits the mounting bracket for the bed. I really don't want to cut that off, and if I didn't have a flatbed on here, I would have, like, this is where the bed would go, and I don't think that I can, like, ouch, I can kind of put it there, but if I do that, then the this other one is so high up that, you know, it won't reach, the U-bolts won't reach, and you know, oh, you can't really see it from that angle, the bracket doesn't touch the original spring. So, I mean, I hope they just sent me the wrong one. You know, because if this was the right one, I mean, it would just be a terrible product. So I'm done on this. I'm debating checking out the, because I have a Hellwig rear sway bar that I was going to put on this in the next episode. And I'm kind of curious if that one works. So I might go try that and just repurpose this whole video. I don't know. So I just want to give a quick shout out to Kevin at Hellwig. He did a great job working with me to get do all the troubleshooting and everything else. They Ended up refunding the product, but I think it was they believe it was a challenge with some of the GMC like end of the generation kind of changes. So I don't want to beat up on Hellwig too much on this. Their customer support is world class. We're going to be installing the what are these guys? The Gabriel Max Contour control shock. They're they have a slightly higher weight rating. They're a little stiffer than the stock ones. Mostly just with the amount of weight I have, the stock ones just aren't cutting it. It's a beat up truck, so it's possible that like they're just, the stock ones are just old, so not really an upgrade, just kind of general maintenance, but we're throwing these guys on. And then the big upgrade of today is the Hellwig, the sway bar. So these are the instructions. Hellwig, I will say, they're awesome. They are they're the best. They're really good. I really like the customer support that I've received. I've had a couple of problems. Like I've had products that should have worked better than they did, or should have fit and they didn't. But, I think some of it, and even my own experience in the automotive world, has taught me that that's not all, the aftermarket manufacturers control, because sometimes OEMs will switch parts out mid-production runs. And so it's not like the spare or the aftermarket part company can just change, they don't communicate that. So like if you have a vehicle that's close to the end of a model year production, sometimes you'll see different, there's different stuff. So you'll see one of my videos, I was trying to add some helper springs. That didn't work out, but Kevin at Hellwig is awesome. He was super helpful, and they made it right. They did it all right. So we're moving forward with the big wig rear sway bar. Huge safety improvement. Like if you're carrying a lot of weight in your truck and you don't have a sway bar, you really should get one. It helps prevent rollover. It keeps everything kind of tidy. It's a counterbalancing force on your, I'm going to say your like X axis, probably, whatever, like the side to side, latitudinal axis. So yeah, big fan of sway bars, big fan of Hellwig. So what we've got here, we'll go back to this view for you. So basically the instructions are usually really good from Hellwig also. So we've got these guys right here that go inside the frame. I love that they add the little wire to it, because if you've ever been under there trying to fish a small little plate or nut on the back of a frame, it's annoying. So we're going to align this hole right here up inside the frame. I'll show you where it is in a second. And so the reason that all of this happens right next to the rear shock. So while I'm in there, we're going to put in the new shocks. But they give you a great kind of assembly instruction here. So you got these parts, whoopsies. And then really important element of this is that you add the grease inside of these bushings right in here. So like before we put those in, we're going to take this grease and we're going to pop it in right in there. And then same thing, we've got the four of these bushings, these rubber bushings right in here. So 2 for each. They just like press fit, and I love that there's a little divot in here so that they kind of get held in nice. Same thing, we're going to add grease before we put this, I don't know if it's a roll pin or maybe a roll sleeve, because it's not a full welded bushing. I don't know what the technical name for this would be. It might just be an unwelded, like a roll bushing, maybe would be the technical word. But anyways, grease that up, pop that in here. So basically you've got that guy, that guy, that guy. And then these guys go right in there, obviously. And so that's kind of your, I was going to do it all nice. That's sort of what your assembly is going to look like. I do like they give you, real, let's see, these look like grade 8 bolts. I'd have to check. I'm not familiar with that manufacturer, but I'm guessing they're grade 8. They look grade 8. Same thing here. They give you nice, hardware. So it's not, I don't find that I replace my own hardware. Sometimes on these kits, I just throw out their bolts and I use my own, stainless steel or grade 8 kind of bolts. But not here. So that's this link right here, right? And it goes this piece of hardware up to the frame, through there, right? Boom, boom, zoop, zerp, bushings, rolls, bolts, nuts, all of it's in here. Grease it up. And then on the sway bar, we've got these guys right here, little Pac-Man mouth, little boop, 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 boop. Pop that over, grease, insert. So that holds the sway bar, right? So if we're keeping that little demo right there. So that guy is right here. And so it goes right on the sway bar, and then it connects. It's this piece right here. And the reason I'm doing all this here is because I think it's way easier to see it here. So sway bar, spacer plate, axle bracket, U-bolt, and then again, same thing. Washers, nuts, good hardware all the time. And then, yeah, so I mean, it's really pretty simple. It's a pretty simple install. So that's what we're doing today. Just popping this guy on. I'll do some pictures while I'm doing it, but if I encounter any problems that I have to creatively problem solve, I'll show you that. But it should be pretty easy, if I'm being honest. So, Hellwig did not send it in the plastic bin. That's mine. I like to keep things kind of organized and pre-assembled, especially when it's really cold outside right now. And it's snowy, so I'm going to be under the... So, this thread and this thread are not the same. So when you try and put it on, that is what you get. So I take back what I said about the hardware being good and easy to assemble for the second time. Okay, so after quite a bit of effort, we've got the Hellwig Big Wig, the Hellwig Big Wig rear sway bar installed. I've enjoyed working with everyone that I've talked to, but I haven't had a single product that I could use out of the box of stuff. But I'm going to show you what we did. I didn't video too much because like it was on ice. I was cold, tired, frustrated, all these things. But we're going to dive into it right now. So here we go. We've got the, okay. So I don't know if you can see right up here. So the, that toggle that I showed you, you just pop it right in through this guy up there, and then you can line it up in with the frame, hardware, all that kind of stuff. These are the threads. Like this is what ripped on my F-150, so I just welded all of this together, which I don't know, maybe that was dumb, but the instructions say to put it on this outermost one. That's the most gentle setting, and so if they say if you need to, you can move it in. I've only done maybe hour and a half of driving with it, and so far so good. That looks good. This is the hardware that I showed you in the video while I was installing it. So the bolts that they sent with it were not the same threads as this. I didn't check when we were installing them. So ripped up those threads, had to cut it off, take a die, cut the threads, new bolt that actually, or new nut that fit the threads on the U-bolt. So that was a little disappointing. But you can see the hardware all assembles like I showed you in the video on the workbench before we came out here. So, you know, it all came together. Like had the nuts fit on had the nuts that they sent it with fit the U-bolts. I mean, this would have been like a 30-second. Okay, it would have been like an hour install. You know, you grease it all up, you put it together, easy peasy, right? Having to go into town, find the bolts, get it all done, like that just added a lot of extra effort that we shouldn't have needed, right? So here we are. You can see we got the new shocks. God, they are amazing. Mostly because like the shocks that were on there were so blown up. Like it was so bad. Yeah, now this thing feels like a real truck. So I don't even know that I needed nicer shocks. I think I just needed to replace some beat to shit ones that were probably stock, like never been replaced. And this thing had 175,000 miles on it when I bought it. So, and you can see here, so, I've got the 7,500, the Air Right 7,500 bags. They clear, there's enough clearance here, for everything, right? So airbags, sway bar, I mean, the shock's already there. That's nothing to, but you know, it's tight, but yeah, I mean, you can get in there. Same thing with these brackets. Everything's nice like that. You know, I'll give Hellwig credit. That part's really good. I mean, this thing's beefy as hell. But yeah, same thing on this side was one of those nuts that had to get cut the bolt, replace it. That didn't have to happen. So yeah, I'm not thrilled about it. But you can see the same thing where this mounts up there. Pretty easy access through the hole. Get that guy in, tighten it up.
same thing down there, you know, outside. I'll adjust it more probably after, they say to adjust after 100 miles of driving. I'll do that, but you know, if you torque everything to spec, it's pretty easy. I definitely like those airlift bags. So, you know, we'll see. I had originally wanted to replace the leaf springs entirely, but okay, there we go. But yeah, so that's it on, at least it for now, on the rear suspension upgrades. I really, if I had had more time, and specifically if I had a place that I could have received the like General Springs, I'll put a link in the description, but the KC General Springs like leaf replacement, I would have done that just because I don't like airbags because, you know, they require maintenance. They can blow out. Like, I would have preferred to just add a leaf into the pack or just replace the whole leaf pack. I didn't. I'm going to drive it for a while and see how it goes. But yeah, oops, sorry. I'm still bad at videoing. But yeah, so that's where we're at. Yeah. And so, okay, there's one other thing we're gonna talk about in here. So here we are. I don't know if I'm gonna add this. We'll see. So everybody, I love the payload police. I'm gonna call them the payload police. I'm not a member. You'll see here in a second. So this weight slip is from October 24th for this truck. And you can see steer axle 4140, drive axle 7150, total 11.3, right? So you'll notice that if we go, you gotta go to the sticker, you gotta go to the sticker. Okay, so here's the sticker. And you can see here, okay, so payload 28.3. Here's the sticker we're talking about. Okay, you gotta go to the sticker. We're going to the sticker. Okay. So front 48, back 62, total 9,500. So am I over the sticker? Yes, I was on that day. And I'm not saying that I always do it, and all that stuff. However, even before I did anything, load E range tires. So single is, each of these tires is rated for 4,800 or 4,800. That means these tires are rated for 8,000 something, right? And as you saw in the slip, even the worst case, I was at 7,000, right? So yeah, this axle on a different configuration is rated, they have versions of this truck that are 11,400. So there is a tax, my belief. Most of the difference for the 25 and 3,500 trucks, the tax code implications of having the GVWR over 10,000 is 90% of the reason that that's 9,500. So yeah, they're going to use, there's one less leaf spring in that pack than if you had the heavier one. There's not an overload spring, all that stuff. If you look at the configuration that I have now, and obviously the one I really wanted to go to, that's better and safer. The other thing is, if you look at the tests that they do for that rating,
a lot of the weight is up. It's unsecure. Like they have a really broad range of situations that the vehicle has to perform in with that amount of weight, right? And so here, all of the heavy things are right on this deck. And this deck is heavy, and it's bolted right to the frame, and all the weight is low. You know, lower than it would have been in a stock configuration. So, you know, you have to take all of that into account. And like, the question is like, okay, is this, am I neglect, you know, is there negligence here? You know, and the answer is no. Like, there's not negligence. And no, like, any lawyer in any situation is going to have a really hard time proving negligence because I'm not negligent. And, you know, it's, so yeah, like this, you don't change the sticker on the truck unless you're an upfitter, in which case you can do whatever you want and nobody cares. So, like, I do have experience in the automotive industry. And so, yeah, I think, you know, payload police, come after me, get me, come after me in the comments and tell me how dumb I am for all of this. And anyone else who wants to do what I did, you know, ask me about it. I'm happy to tell you. And, you know, this thing, it feels great driving. Like, it's freaking rock solid. So, yeah, I love it.